Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, we are going to start the first question and answer session. So today, our Asoka is ready with the presenting of questions. So we will start the session with the written questions.
Venerable Swamin Wahanse, we have 5 questions today.
Right.
The first one is a little long. Do you want me to read all three separately? The sitting, writing, walking and...
Yeah, we'll see depending on the situation.
Okay. Dear Bhante, Theruvan Saranai, mindfulness walking. Stood at one end of the path, concentrated on the feet, started walking. Felt the texture of the path, cold, roughness, smoothness, etc. Walked one side, and at the end of the path, the awareness was changed to the mind chatter. Realized it and again brought back to the feet. While walking, observed the awareness is not consistent. It moves from inner chatter to feet or to body. When concentrating on one leg, the other leg just moves. It just happens when one leg on the path, the other leg is up. When both on the ground, the body doesn't move. When comes to the end of the path, the body automatically turns. Mind acts as two ways, as one gives instructions and the other observes. Likewise, kept on moving for about 40-50 minutes, and also noticed that there is a small jerk inside the head while keeping on the foot. That is the walking meditation.
Yeah, I think we can discuss that first. Basically good, you have observed even very subtle things going on in the mind, how mind very much like behaving like two components. So these are very interesting. Even though now you are doing the walking meditation, which is at the beginning more or less Kayanupassana, where you are trying to pay more attention on the bodily movements or bodily sensations, but at the same time you are capable of understanding what's really going on in the mind as well. One is the inner chatter you have noticed. The other one is another part giving sort of instructions, and another part being aware of the whole sensations. So it's interesting. So, by the way, now, in order to overcome inner chatter, so the strategy is to pay more and more attention to the foot. So there are various sensations again and again popping up, and immediately we can't handle the inner chatter or various other mental distractions. So what we do is to pay more attention on these sensations. So ultimately, you might understand that there is no inner chatter. Inner chatter has gone. Mind has completely silent, and you are able to maintain your attention freely, silently with the sensation. So it's a kind of a gradual process, and it may not happen immediately, and it will take some time. So nothing to worry. So again and again, bringing our attention back to the foot is your task. So mind naturally get drifted, get distracted, but once you are aware, okay, it is my duty to bring it back and have any interest. So many problems are there, but the trial and error in a way. So the mind again get distracted, again you are bringing, again distracted, again bringing. So no other option. So the thing is, if you are trying to hold the mind too strongly and suppressing the thoughts, so that is also not the proper approach. Then you end up with kind of a heaviness of the head, and maybe even get into some sort of a little headache, and these things are also possible. So allowing the mind to move, if it necessary, if it is want, doesn't matter. But once you notice that okay, mind has this drifted, now slowly you can take it back. So as I mentioned in the morning, we are not allowing the meditation process, mindfulness process, to create unnecessary burden, unnecessary stress in the mind. So it may take some time, doesn't matter. So your observations are quite very interesting and quite valid, and you can continue the process. And we are continuing as usual, one by one. So if you need any further clarification, if you want to add anything, please feel free to raise your hand.
This is the sitting meditation of the same yogi. Sat down, brought the awareness to the body, felt the surfaces, legs were bent, while screening the body from head to toe, realized some areas tightened and some relaxed. At the beginning, the entire chest and the stomach area were moving, but later it was only the chest area that felt the breath. The entire body was open to a free space. There was an itch in the neck area, and it later disappeared without any scratching. Just kept on watching the changes of the body. Breath was very subtle. It just happened. The awareness is there. Sometimes it was entangled with a situation and again came to the breath. Sometimes end of the breath feels the heartbeat or emptiness between two breaths. End of one breath is the start of another breath. Observed for 40 to 50 minutes.
Good. I mean, that is also very good. So you are consistently observe the breathing. So as you have properly mentioned, so end of the breath there may be even a little gap. So you can try to see whether you are capable of even noticing that. So it's a kind of a cyclical process going on. So say in-breath going on in a particular cycle, then you sort of even can notice a little gap. And then there's another cycle, that is the out-breath cycle. Again a little gap, again the next in-breath cycle. So it's a kind of a very interesting cyclical process. And now you need to find interest in this process. Now sometimes at the beginning we are simply establishing mindfulness, what we sometimes call as the bare attention, because we are using the breath as an anchor to keep the mind fairly attached to the present moment, because otherwise mind get distracted to various other things either in the past or in the future. But the present moment activity is the breathing, and we are trying to strongly hold on to that. So then we know, okay, the mind also in the present moment. But later, so even distractions can happen and you aware of them, again come back to the breathing. Again distraction happen, again you come back to the breathing. And when breathing becomes subtler and subtler, sometimes these distractions become even difficult, because at the beginning the breath may be a little gross and you can strongly pay attention to that. But as you move forward, breath can even become more subtler, and that situation, it may take some time to handle, because you don't have much things to be aware, so mind easily get distracted. So again a kind of a challenge. So actually the interesting thing in this breathing process is the different challenges are being presented by the process itself. Now say for example you are trying to learn high jump. Say now you can successfully jump 2 feet. So are you continuously jumping 2 feet? So what would be the next step? So you got to increase the height, right? So let me say you are increasing it by 3 inches. And now you are trying to jump that. So if you are successful, what would be the next event, next step? So you are further increasing. So you are keep increasing the challenge, or keep increasing the challenge, so that your skill being further and further developed. Now who is increasing our challenge in meditation? The process itself is doing it. So that's the interesting part. Say you are simply watching the breathing, but the breathing becomes subtler and subtler. So that is more challenging than the gross breath. Previously we were experiencing the gross breath, but now you have to experience kind of a subtler breath, and that is more challenging, because you might fall asleep and you might feel not interested even, or your mind get distracted because there is no strong holding of the breath. So likewise, many challenges are there. So all these challenges are naturally being presented to you. So you have to have a very refined mindfulness, very sharp mindfulness, in order to maintain your attention on this breathing. Previously, as I mentioned, it may be a little gross breathing, the attention is maybe a little straightforward, but later, subtle breathing and the attention has to be very sharp, very precise. So therefore, when these challenges are coming, so it is our duty to further and further refine our attention, keep our attention very precise, then you can successfully continue to the next stage.
This is the same yogi's mindfulness in day-to-day life. Bhante, even in day-to-day life, I prefer to watch situations, how things start and end. Some situations I please advise me, Bhante. Much merits for all the advices and the guidance given to us, Bhante. Theruvan Saranai.
Yeah, interesting. So, mad world. So, we are also mad. So, anyway, so actually as you have mentioned, so if you are able to look at a particular situation as a situation. Now, typically what happens is the situation is quite attractive and quite relevant to us. And automatically we get absorbed to the situation. And we are then an actor of the situation. But now you are capable of being outside the situation and you are simply witnessing the situation. You are simply observing the situation. So that way, you can handle it properly. You can step back and you are no more an actor of the situation, actor in the situation, or the stakeholder of the situation, and you are simply completely outsider. Situation is going on, but you can watch it. Very interesting. So this is how actually we need to approach and say, for example, this is what we are trying to train our mind. Say the body is breathing. Breathing is a kind of a physical process. And we are simply like an outsider, we are simply watching it. So bodily process is there, and then through a mental process we are observing it. So this is what later they call in typical, say, Vipassana as what you call as the Nama Rupa Paricheda Jnana, where you are kind of distinguishing both parts. So there is a physical process and there is a mental process. Other than that, nothing is there. So likewise, so more you are capable of understanding, okay, there are these different situations available. I don't need to take part of them, but rather I can simply watch them. That's a very interesting way of looking at it. Later, these situations probably even divide into small pieces rather than kind of a large episode or long episode. So it may have little episodes, and you can see how your mind even react to these little episodes. And if you are we capable of simply observing each episode with an equanimous mind? Or are there any kind of tempting situations, like they are inviting us to get involved? So these are very interesting. Now say for example, say at your home situation, okay, there's a kind of an argument going. Someone else is simply trying to find fault with you. So is it a situation or is it requires your involvement? Or do you need to participate? So it's a very tempting situation sometimes. So keep on asking your participation, inviting you to participate, but are you able to simply look at it? Because people want to agitate us, right? They want us to participate in the situation. Otherwise, they don't get enough food for the situation to continue. So if you simply watch without much participation, how can they alone can continue the situation? Very difficult. So very interesting, actually I can add very interesting Dhammapada verse, Sache neresi attanang kanso upahato yatha. Esa patto sinibbanang sarambho tena vijjati. So Buddha mentioned, okay, we have a kind of attitude, okay, I need to do something. I need to take revenge. Or I need to always react If he did something, okay, I want to do two things. If he did one thing, I need to do two things. If he has mentioned just one word, I need to tell two words. So this is the kind of an attitude we are typically having. And Buddha mentioned, without reacting like that, if you can simply absorb what has happened, that's it. No continuation. Then the situation ends at that level. We are not taking it to another level. Simply the situation has happened and we observe that. And as you said, you are not in the situation, but you have observed the situation and you allow the situation to pass. That's it. Done. Then Buddha mentioned, you are like a person who has attained Nibbana. He has taken it to that level. Sacene resyattanaṁ kanso pahato yatha esa pattosi nibbanam sarambho tena vijjati. And you don't have any rivalry. So typically if someone has done something, because of the rivalry we have, we want to react, we want to challenge. I also want to participate. I also want to do more than that. So that's the attitude we have. But what Buddha mentioned is, okay, he has done something and you saw that, absorbed that, that's it. No reaction. Can we do that? But typically we think, okay, that's a kind of a timid approach. We should react. So I am with a lot of vigor, I need to react. I need to show my colors. I need to show my strength. So this is the kind of attitude we have. So rather than that, Buddha gives us a different alternative. So situations are happening as you have mentioned. So you are looking at it as a situation, kind of an incident. But you are not participating in it, but you are able to look at it objectively. And it passes by and that's it, that's all. So very interesting way that how Buddha in a way interpret this whole experience. So rather than we also being part of the whole thing and reacting and participating and further aggravating the situation, okay, now we have an alternative approach. Okay, we can step back and see the situation as a situation, and that's all. We are maintaining our calmness, clarity, and everything is there.
Most Venerable Bhante, I was doing sitting meditation for maybe 10 to 15 weeks. I was watching my breath. Then suddenly a jerk and I felt like falling forward. I didn't sleep, couldn't gather my bearings and cannot remember exactly what happened before the jerk. This happened 3-4 times today and mostly other days too. I am a bit puzzled with metta. Please explain.
So, may I know who has written it? Right. I mean, are you frequently meditating for a long time? Right. So, can you explain a little bit about your walking meditation? Yeah, one moment, yeah.
Walking meditation is not that difficult for me.
Walking is not difficult for you?
No. I was because I discussed with my friend here.
Right.
She just told me what to do, so I was doing it. It was fine. But
no, that's the thing I want to verify. So, what you have experienced while walking? Can you little explain your walking experience? What did you experience?
The tightness when the foot steps onto the sand,
right.
It's very tight, and when I take it up, it's not absolutely no sensation like that. The sensation.
No sensations.
Yeah, no sense when I take the foot up.
Can you? I didn't get you.
When you walk, first you put your foot down,
right.
And when you put the next step, you take this foot up.
Right.
Then I don't feel anything.
Right.
No feeling. Like that's the thing I was observing.
That's observation.
Yes.
So how many distractions you get normally while walking?
I get lot of inner chatter.
Lot of inner chatter.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Then fine. Fine. Now that means in the sitting also, as your attention slowly concentrates to the breath, so kind of a jerk can happen because now sort of momentum is catching up, your mind getting collected, So certain areas of the brain getting stimulated, so that kind of jerks can happen. So that indicates kind of a developmental process is going on. So it's a kind of a biological process going on as we again and again continue the practice. And time to time these little jerks, little movements and little itching sensations, so these can happen. But later all these things fade off. Nothing to worry. You can continue as usual. Yeah.
Reverend Bhante, I wish to give my meditation report as follows. Walking meditation. Selected a suitable choir mat for walking. Kept my mind to this moment. Observed how walking posture. Mind was calm. Noted the movement. Left leg raising and moving forward. Placing back. Feeling the hardness of the floor, roughness, etc. Moving the right leg vice versa. Kept observing to the end of the path. Stood walking, noting standing posture. Turned back to begin the walk. I hear various sounds, voices, noises. However, took an effort not to get distracted and just to note the beginning and end of those sounds, how it varies, and noting it only as a sound and hearing. Walking took place approximately for 30 to 40 minutes.
Good. So basically that is one approach. Say while walking you hear various sounds and you are not being distracted, rather you distracted, can't say not distracted, you have distracted, but you know it has a sound and it has disappeared, and again you are coming back to the sensations. So slowly, by the way, see whether you can maintain more attention on the walking, because sounds then appear like kind of background sounds. They are not interfering the process. They may not catch your attention too much, but you can maintain a little bit of more attention, more focused attention to your sensations. So that way actually we are little promoting the concentration part as well. Now actually you can sort of experience both. Say walking happens at the same time these sounds are also happening, so these are more into mindfulness, no harm. But later you can slowly give less prominence to these sounds but pay more attention to your inside experience, sensations. Then slowly you can discard all the sounds and you are not interested, and again mind also not interested, you are not getting distracted, but you are capable of maintaining more attention on the sensations happening on your foot. So this way the idea is that amid so many other distractions you are capable of paying more attention to where you have selected. So it's a kind of a benefit that Buddha highlight available in the walking meditation. So he actually mentioned 5 benefits in walking meditation. So one is this. This means in the sense padahana kamo hoti. So that means while continuing our practice, even we are facing our life, various life situations. So it may not be easy. So many challenges are there, so many obstacles are there. But still you are capable of navigating, capable of overcoming all these difficulties, and you are able to fulfill your whatever the objective. So that's a kind of a skill that we are developing. There are among all these difficulties, different distractions, challenges, sights, sounds, smells, all these things are there. But still you are capable of paying more attention, more focused attention onto the selected object. Okay, that is the sensation at your foot. By the way, you are written it well, you have observed everything. Now it's a matter of paying more attention, giving more prominence to the sensations.
The same yogi's sitting meditation. Observe the posture for a few minutes until I felt totally calm. Seated on a cushion, legs bent, feeling the buttocks pressed to the seat but well balanced. Back straight, hands free on lap, head straight, but not rigid, face area very relaxed, including the whole body. Watch the breath. Exhale felt on my upper lip, giving a little warm sensation. Inhale felt cooler, changing the length of the breath at each time. After a while, it was getting shorter and unnoticeable. Mind relaxed. Noises were heard. Took an attempt only to observe the changing nature of it, and was careful not to contribute for such feelings. Only disturbances was some flies made me irritated, noting that it too was my own fault. May you, Bhante, be well and make the path to attain Nibbana in this life. It is your guidance and teaching that helped me. Theruvan Saranai.
Yeah, okay. So I think there is nothing to add. You are doing well. You are maintaining kind of an equanimous, balanced mind while continuing the practice. So I think you can continue. There is nothing to change or add.
The fourth question, Theruvan Saranai. Dear Bhante, this is not a question on my practice, but from the Buddha Charita. Please tell me what happened to King Suddhodana, the Buddha's father, who was ordained as a monk, and did he attain Nibbana? When did he die? I hope you will not mind this silly question. Thank you, dear Bhante. Theruvan Saranai.
This is also interesting time to time. Once a while, a little bit of white ball, also not a bad thing. So actually, he didn't ordain. So basically, he's one of the interesting situations. That is, he passed away as an arahant, but not as an ordained monk. But at the deathbed, Buddha has delivered kind of a sermon to him. And after hearing that, the history is going like that. The Buddha Charita, as you mentioned, is going like that. And then the King Suddhodana attained arahantship, and then he passed away as well. I think he became a Sotapanna when Buddha was in Kapilavattu, while Buddha is going on alms round, and then the King Suddhodana interfered, and he didn't want Buddha to go on alms round. He invited him to the palace. And then Buddha mentioned, okay, this is the tradition of the Buddhas. Then there's a long discourse going on. And I think, as far as I can remember, at that moment he became a Sotapanna. And then gradually he was continuing the other attainments. And while he was at the deathbed, then the kind of a news came to Buddha. And then Buddha went there. That happened as a later event, later time. And after hearing that sermon, so he became an arahant and he passed away. So therefore he didn't become a monk.
Dear Bhante, I am ashamed to say, still I couldn't concentrate on my walking meditation. Every time when I get started, it's coming to my mind how to explain my progress. Only very few minutes I can be mindful. Much merit to you, Bhante.
Yeah. So these are very interesting. While meditating, I am planning how to write it, how to report it. You can understand how silly our minds are in a way. So I need to first do, and then only I need to report. But while doing it, again many thoughts are coming, how to report. But the only thing is, you take it as a kind of a distraction. It is not something to appreciate, it is not something to value or to plan. It's another distraction. And you got to tell strongly to the mind, you got to shut up, I'll do it later. You got to shut up. Now you have to pay attention to breathing, or you need to pay attention to walking. So that is your task. Like you are kind of strongly telling to a child, to your son, to your daughter, to your granddaughter, whoever. So likewise, sometimes we sternly tell, okay, now it is not the time, you got to do this. You have to be stern on that time. then it will listen to you. But if you keep promoting, if you keep thinking, planning how to do, I need to add this, I need to mention this, then Bhante will tell this. So all these nonsense are going on in the mind. So then that means we are entertaining the thoughts. Rather, we need to understand, okay, this is a major distraction, should not promote it, just keep it away, and it's a matter of continuing. And not only that, even sometimes the book knowledge comes to the front. So you only had little experience, but you keep remembering all the things maybe mentioned in the book, or maybe mentioned in a Dhamma sermon. That is also distraction at that time. You don't, no point of, kind of exaggerating the thing or getting so much of book knowledge included into the experience. Rather, the experience has to be very fresh experience. It is not colored by so much of other copied information. So therefore, it's sometimes difficult. How to kind of restrain the mind just to limit to the experience, just to limit to this direct experience, giving more prominence to direct experience without mixing it with so much of other things. It's a kind of a challenging thing. So we are restraining the mind. So mind has all these different habits, wrong habits, disturbances, and we are understanding them. And you really have understood that. Okay, this is a kind of a wrong habit, again and again coming and disturbing me without allowing me to continue the practice, not giving enough prominence to the practice. Now I am planning. So the mind is planning. It is not you planning. Basically the mind is planning. So further we need to restrain the mind. So this, since you are going to practice only, you understood how tricky the mind is. It is now planning how to write the report. So very interesting. These things are not uncommon, and these are very commonly mentioned scenarios. Don't worry. you can forgive yourself. Next time also it might happen, and you got to tell, no, I am not going to listen to you. You better shut up. I am going to do this. And you have to be sternly mention that, and you can continue the path. Yeah, that's all.
You finished all the written questions.
So those are the written questions we have received. So if you have anything to add, if you want to discuss something else, you can participate. Yeah.
Avasarai Bhante, just like from the last thing you mentioned, I don't know, this whole learning process of the Dhamma, I think it may be interfering with my practice as well, because, for example, I've learned that whatever we see or hear, whatever I see or hear, is a kusala or a akusala vipakya. So now I'm labeling and I'm going on that angle without, there's, I feel time wasted almost, rather than coming back to the object of meditation. So I don't know, can you advise, please?
Yeah. So that's why so many labels are there. People are very clever in analyzing and putting so many labels, dividing into tables.
Yes.
And ultimately we need to remember whether what is the kind of consciousness there, what is the kind of perception there, and you are remembering that and trying to properly, correctly name that. But if you simply can come to the object, or keep the mind in emptiness, that is more than enough. Because in a way it's a waste of time, waste of energy, and we are unnecessarily strengthening kind of a distraction in the mind. So basically, this Dhamma, Buddha's teaching is kind of for the crossing the flood, not to carry on our head, no?
It's, I feel conceit as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know it now.
Correct.
But what good is it?
I know Abhidhamma, I know this thing, I know that thing.
So
I
stop.
could precisely tell, okay, this is exactly the type of the consciousness available, these are exactly the Chetasikas available. I mean, we can understand, we can learn how tricky the mind is.
Yes.
Even the knowledge, even the Dhamma knowledge is a cause of preparing kind of a conceit, preparing a kind of a self-view in ourselves.
Yes.
So we need to, that's why, I mean, it also has to happen. Then only we understand, okay, the mind is trying to trick me, even using the Dhamma knowledge. Okay, I am preparing a self there.
Yes.
I am preparing an individual there.
Correct.
So rather than promoting that, okay, I need to simply discard. I am taking the easiest path. I mean, this is not, I mean, no one has given any marks for that.
That's right, yeah.
I am just ignoring the thought. Thought is coming, I am just ignoring it. So actually that also Buddha mentioned, you know, in the Indriya Bhavana Sutta.
Yes.
So Buddha, that also he has mentioned as an approach. When mind get distracted, so he simply mentioned attiyati harayati jigucchati. So you are not promoting it, you simply being ashamed of that.
Yes.
So you are now suppose capable of keeping the mind empty without any distraction or without any attachment, without any grasping, and that is the kind of the goal, the objective you have, but still this fellow go and attach with something. And rather than I am trying to understand what is the exact abhidhammic term there, I am simply being ashamed of that. Just what the nonsense are you doing?
Correct.
Kind of, you know, that kind of attitude. So then we are not promoting a self-view. Rather we take it in a different angle. So I am being ashamed of what still this mind is doing.
Yes.
That way we are more grounded rather than the conceit allowing. So still I have understood, although I am now training myself, still couldn't do it. In a way, that way we can avoid conceit and we kind of understand honestly, humbly, okay, still some ditches are there, some drawbacks, shortcomings are there. I am forgiving for that, and I am neglecting that, I am just ignoring that. I am being ashamed of that. Attiyati harayati jigucchati, and I am little, you know, kind of not appreciating that at all.
Yes.
Something like that. So like, I mean, so we need to find out different approaches. So I mean, these approaches are very easy approaches, because you understand, okay, now the mind is capable of just maintaining kind of an emptiness. Still this fellow is going and attached to something, and you are not accepting that, you are not sort of promoting that, and you don't even sort of recommend that, simply being ashamed of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions?
Yeah.
Thank you. Swamin Wahansa, I actually want to know this because like now you gave me the advice, but like I just want to clarify it more because now there are sometimes like now this is also like I'm in inner chattering so much like whether to ask from you. So like sometimes it just let go, like I mean I don't want to like.
I can create my inner chatter whether to go answer you.
Yeah. So like as you said, like even at home this is what it happens to me, like my parents and everyone, they get mad at me because when a situation happens, so like I say okay, this is just natural things which is happening.
Right.
So like as you mentioned, like I am trying to be away from that situation. I don't want to become the kind of a person in that situation.
Correct.
So like as much as I am away from that situation, my home front gets so mad with me.
Definitely.
So
because they want you also to participate.
Yeah, so like
react and tell this, tell that.
At that moment, I see my ego is coming out so much, like
not
it's
participating.
Yeah, for not participating. Why you should not participate like that? So it's like kind of ego and superego. Everything is working out inside. So like I'm balancing it. So like at that kind of a situation, I try to move out because I feel my energy is wasted so much for that situation.
So much wasted in what sense? I mean,
in the sense
not,
like for not being, for not participating in that situation.
So
because
how being not participated that you are wasting your energy?
Because I have to give some kind of answer for them, no? So like I always tell, okay, whatever it happens, let it happens naturally.
Right.
If you go to like try to do it forcefully, nothing will happen. Like, I mean, I always say, watch, like, I mean, even the river flows, that is according to the nature. So like, if you just like try to change, it won't happen normal way. So they say like, because these days I go to this, I do intern at mental hospital, they'll tell me to go and stay there because I have gone insane.
Dr. Dhammik is also there, probably help you.
Okay. Now
yeah. No, actually we can see the situation in different ways. Now thing is, now say you participate in the situation and you now want to overrule the situation. That also prepare a kind of an ego. So that is one side. And now you are not participating in the situation, that also creates a kind of an ego. Okay, while they are trapped in the situation, I am not trapped in the situation. So that's preparing another ego, kind of an ego. So, and if we can recognize the ego, say you are not participating, good. Now, not being participated, how still you can see, I mean, but there is no need to prepare an ego. You don't need to show that you are a kind of a Superman. No, you are, you are a kind of a gifted person. I am a practitioner. You don't need to put any label to you. You are simply escape from the situation, or rather you can handle the situation, but not making a self. I mean, we need to definitely see the situation, and we need to definitely see how I is being made, how kind of a conceit being prepared. So that definitely have to be noticed, because these are in a way we can look at as kind of an opportunities. Because even in the Dhamma practice, when we are handling it properly, then there is a possibility another way the ego can arise, because I have handled it properly. Because I am successfully handled it, so I didn't aggravate the situation. Yeah, I did it. So
sometimes I kind of.
So in that sense, okay, in that track also we need to kind of nullify. We don't need to promote. Okay, I'm just still kind of a sand particle. That's it. I mean, always being on the ground. Okay, no need to prepare a self for being conceited or kind of show off or something like that. Okay, I just handle it. But probably on the next moment again I can get trapped. I might handle the next situation. Probably I may also participate into the next situation. So we can't guarantee, no, isn't it? So certain situation I have properly handled well. But how can I guarantee, okay, that even the next situation I am properly going to handle? Very difficult. Because certain situations are maybe difficult, and automatically I getting emotional, and then I also get angry sometimes. Okay, again I participate. So these things are possible. But there may be a certain situation I properly handled, and from that also I don't need to make a self. So what I feel is all these are kind of a learning curve. All these life experiences, all the problems we encounter, help us to sharpen our wisdom, because it's a kind of a sharpening. Every time we are using our wisdom, every time we are using our insights, and somehow avoid all these defilements, avoid all this I-making, mind-making, is in a way kind of a sharpening. Because if without these opportunities we never use, we don't know how to use it, how tricky the mind is, how when we overcome or when we properly do it in one sense, how another track may open and trap in that. So all these are very, very difficult, very subtle aspects of the mind. No? So understanding all these in a way very insightful, and again helping us to be further very honest and humble, to understanding all these tricky events operating in the mind, Maya, Sati, and all these very kind of fraud kind of things, very cunning kind of things. All these are little defilements, subtle defilements operating in our mind. If you are able to notice them and without being overwhelmed by them, without being victimized to them, how can I carefully handle them? So therefore, all are in a way helping us, teaching us, and we can take them as an opportunity to sharpen our, say, wisdom. Yeah. So anybody today, checking your bags for ice here? No? I heard some schools are being checked for ice. Some news are there. So very pathetic situation. And everything is, very difficult sometimes. And we have to be in a way very vigilant how the society is being going through some difficult time economically. At the same time, these wrong habits and things are coming to the, children, among the children, and difficult time in a way. So mindfulness in that sense, sorry?
They were under drugs.
Under drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's really pathetic when you see,
Exactly.
there are so many, elderly people also, they have taken ice, and so many hallucinations have started. It's really pathetic in the
Exactly.
mental hospital also these days.
So that's why I just want to emphasize. So we as a kind of a group, you can see the situation, what's really going on. So they also want to have a kind of a mental relaxation or kind of a happiness, but taking a wrong track, taking a wrong side. And people are there to take it for advantage. And these are certain human emotions, and there are certain other people are taking those for advantage and misusing it. And the children are quite innocent, and they get trapped in them and ultimately destroy their whole life. So we as elders, in a way, we have some responsibility to be aware of the situation and to protect the children and bring them to the correct side and make them aware of the danger, and again make them quite mindful of the situation. Because that is one thing that Bhante Dhammajiva wants to promote through Satipasala. Because when people are, or rather the children are quite attentive and they have a kind of focus. Because sometimes what happens is, now even for us, if there is no focus to the mind, say you are not given a particular task, you have no goal in the life, there is no objective in the life. And suppose you have, as a result of that, you have to do a lot of things. So you have so many objectives, you have so many tasks, so many responsibilities. That is one side. On the other side, you think you have no responsibility, no task, nothing to do. Which thing you think is the best? Now, say you have so many objectives in the sense, so many tasks, responsibilities, and you have to do a lot of things. In a way, a little bit difficult also. Another approach, another alternative say, you have nothing to do, no responsibilities, you have no task, nothing to do. Which one is good? Sometimes when you are in so many responsibilities and so many tasks, you are expecting, okay, give me a break. I want to escape. I want to take a rest. So that's the approach. But if you have nothing to do, then also mind start wandering. So this wandering mind is not a happy mind. So if your mind is not given kind of a focus, it is more prone to wander. It has no direction. Mind doesn't have any direction. Suppose you don't have a job, you don't have someone to look after, you don't have anything to attend, there is no any particular responsibility. So mind start wandering, keep on wandering. But on the other hand, suppose you are assigned a particular task, you have a great responsibility, you have to look after someone, you have to do something, then you have to do it. So mind has kind of a direction. So therefore it is not always that simply ignoring everything and having no responsibility at all give the proper direction to the mind, but rather if you are given a kind of a task to the life, then that helps actually. It is not, we are not saints, no? So our minds are, in a way, we have to handle in a way tactfully or strategically. So till we becomes an arahant, we have to give a kind of a target in a way. You have to give a particular task. Okay, you do this. Okay, you have to do that. You are now being responsible for that. It has come to you and you have to do it. Something like that. Then in a way helps to occupy the mind. But while doing that, how about maintaining kind of an empty mind? Then that's another direction. Say, without making a stress. Now you have to do it. Yes, I am assigned that. I should do that. How to do it without making a stress? So that is, you are adding another direction to your mind. So therefore, that way if we can handle, so you are given proper direction, you have a very responsible assigned task, and you should do it. While doing it, how to keep the mind without a stress? Not by not giving any task. But you are given a particular task, but while achieving that task, how to keep the mind relaxed? That way you are adding another dimension to the mind. So actually our skills can be stretched. It is not that we simply have to ignore everything and I am going to forest for years. I am not coming to the society. I am escaped from that. I think that is not the approach in a way. But say, if it is necessary, you can go to the forest, you can participate in a retreat, and you are developing the skill, definitely. After developing to some extent, can I use the skill that I have developed successfully into the kind of a life situation? Say, when you are given a particular task, while you are achieving it, how to use the skill that we have developed so that the mind is not get stressed. You are handling it properly. You are seeing the situation as a situation, as we just discussed. So this is how actually we can make use of the Dhamma, make use of the practice effectively in our life situations. So therefore, the approach is not that we are trying to escape from all the problems. Approach is we are developing certain strengths in ourselves so that successfully we can face the problems, face the situations. So that is the approach. So therefore, even the development of the mindfulness, introduction of the mindfulness, is to develop those skills so that we can successfully face problems, face situations. It is not escape from situations, rather we are facing the situations more properly without making any more trouble, making any stress, and that should be the approach. So therefore, as kind of practitioners, that's why we have to take certain responsibilities. We have to do something, do in the sense properly whatever the assigned things we have to do properly. At the same time, how to maintain the mind relaxed without any tension, without any stress. That is very interesting. So then only you may look at what are the possibilities. Can I do that task without getting angry? Can I do that task without getting agitated? Can I do that task without getting stressed? Say the first moments probably you get trapped, you get stressed, and all these problems are there. But as a practitioner, how about next time? When I am talking to him, can I keep the mind without stress, without getting agitated, without getting angry? Now we need to try ourselves. So likewise, we need to progress so that the practice become part of our life. It is not that we are simply practicing here at Kalalgoda and then forget everything and then face the life the way we were. Then we are not bringing the practice with ourselves. But if we practice it here and we are developing certain skills, and that we need to take to our office, that we need to take to our monastery, that we need to take to our whatever the day-to-day other activities, and make use of whatever the skills that we have developed, so that we are handling life situations much better than the others even. And even that we are not taking for developing conceit. I am a practitioner, so I know how to handle it. You are just an ignorant person. That's also, creating a self. It's very interesting how Buddha always keeping us on the ground, not allowing us to make a self even using the practice, and just become a kind of a good human being. That's it. So very interesting. You can see, how humanistic in a way, how Buddha's teaching. So when we are practicing it, so we can make use of the practice, all the skills that we have developed, and still laugh and have fun, and that's it. Okay, that's all. If you have any other questions, probably then we'll wind up the session. At 4 p.m. we are going to have the Dhamma sermon. Thank you very much for participation.